Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vas. Jeder chantet anders. Wir müssen gleich chanten. Okay, nochmal. Oh, ich als erstes und dann im gleichen Tempo alle nochmal. Das ist sehr wichtig, weil wenn dann jeder ein anderes Tempo macht, dann ist das nicht mal ein Kanon. Sogar ein Kanon hat ein gewisses System. Das ist kein System. Okay, nochmal. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Doch schön, oder? Oder meint irgendjemand, nee, vorher war es besser? Es ist nur besser, weil jeder so sein eigenes Tempo haben will. Und dann denkt, oh, das muss ein bisschen schneller sein, ein bisschen langsamer sein. Ja. Okay, so we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 4, Sati Quits Her Body, Text 5. You have written the sixth verse here, yeah? Okay. Ja, okay. Tam Sharika Kanduka Darpanambuja Shvetata Patra Vyajana Sak Adibi Gita Yanai Dundubi Shankar Venubir Vrishindram Arupya Vitankita Yayu. Translation. The disciples of Lord Shiva arranged for Sati to be seated on the back of a bull and gave her the bird which was her pet. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment, and covered her with a great canopy. Followed by a singing party with drums, conches, bugles, the entire procession was a pompous as a royal parade. Text 6. 1 second. Abrahma Goshorchita Yak. Na, wie chantet man das? Abrahma Goshorchita Yakya Vaishasam. Nee. Abrahma Goshorchita Yakya Vaishasam. Goshorchita Yakya Vaishasam. Viprarshijustam Vibudaisha Sarvashaha. Viprarshijustam Vibudaisha Sarvashaha. Mrit Darf Aya Kanchana Darpa Charma Bir. Nisrishta Bandam Yajanam Samavishat. Bandam Yajanam Samavishat. Okay, mag jemand probieren? Abrahma Goshorchita Yakya Vaishasam. Viprarshijustam Vibudaisha Sarvashaha. Mritarf Aya Kanchana Darpa Charma Bir. Nisrishta Bandam Yajanam Samavishat. Abrahma Goshorchita Yakya Vaishasam. Prarshijustam Vibudaischa Sarvasha. Mritarfaya Kanchana Darpa Jarma Bir. Nisrishta bandam yajanam samavishat. Matajis. Abrahama gosorchita yakya vaishasam. Viprarshicustam vibudaishta sarvashaha. Mridarf aya kanchana darba janmabir. Nisrishta bandam yajanam samavishat. From all sides. Brahma, Gosha, with the sounds of the Vedic hymns. Urjita, decorated. Yagya, sacrifice. Vaishasam, destruction of animals. Viprarshi Chushtam, attended by the great sages. Vibudai, with demigods. Cha, and Sarvashaha, on all sides. Mrita, clay. Daru, wood. Ayaha, iron. Kanchana, gold. Darba, kusha grass. Jarmabhi, skins. Nisrishta, made of. Bandam, sacrificial animals and pots. Yajanam, sacrifice. Samavishat, entered. Translation. She then reached her father's house, where the sacrifice was being performed, and entered the arena where everyone was chanting the Vedic hymns. The great sages, brahmanas, and demigods were all assembled there, and there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pots of clay, stone, gold, grass, and skin, which were all requisite for the sacrifice. Purport. When learned sages and brahmanas assemble to chant Vedic mantras, some of them also engage in arguing about the conclusion of the scriptures. Thus some of the sages and brahmanas were arguing, and some of them were chanting the Vedic mantras, so the entire atmosphere was so charged with transcendental sound vibration. This transcendental sound vibration has been simplified in the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this age, no one is expected to be highly educated in the Vedic ways of understanding, because people are very slow, lazy, and unfortunate. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the sound vibration of Hare Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. It is also recommended. Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yachantihi Su Medasaha. At the present moment, it is impossible to gather sacrificial necessities because of the poverty of the population and their lack of knowledge in Vedic mantras. Therefore, for this age, it is recommended that people gather together and chant Hare Krishna mantra to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is accompanied by his associates. Indirectly, this indicates Lord Chaitanya, who is accompanied by his associates, Nityananda, Advaita, and others. That is the process of performing yagya in this age. Another significant point in this verse is that there were animals for sacrifice. That these animals were meant for sacrifice does not mean that they were meant to be killed. The great sages and realized souls assembled were performing yagyas, and their realization was tested by animal sacrifice. Just as in modern science, tests are made on animals to determine the effectiveness of a particular medicine. The brahmanas entrusted with the performance of yagya were very realized souls, and to test their realization on an old animal was offered in the fire and rejuvenated. That was the test of a Vedic mantra. The animals gathered were not meant to be killed and eaten. The real purpose of a sacrifice was not to replace a slaughterhouse, but to test the Vedic mantra by giving an animal new life. Animals were used to test the power of Vedic mantras, not for meat. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangong Langayate Karim Yat Kripatamang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, sacrifice is the topic, sacrifice. Yagya. Sati entered this huge yagya at the heavenly planets, which was very powerful, a powerful assembly of great personalities. And Prabhupada extricates from this the importance of yagya and what is the most important part of the yagya, especially for this time, is the sound vibration. Also in this yagya there were many brahmanas and they chanted mantras, so it was, as Prabhupada says, a wonderful atmosphere of this sound because of the sound vibration. So we should understand, we have to learn the power of sound. Sound is very, very powerful. Sound even creates the universe, so to say. Krishna in the beginning, he spoke Brahma heard the sound vibration. He heard it first, he heard tapa, right? And that he inspired him to make austerities and meditate. And then also later he heard different sounds, right? There's the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which was in the beginning there. Brahma Samhita was chanted. It said that the whole material creation rests on the Brahman effulgence of Krishna, and the impersonal aspect of it, or the sound for that, is the Om. So sound is the most subtle energy of the material energies, and everything emanates from that then, right? Even the earth, which is the most gross manifestation of matter, carries sound, or is needed. Sound is needed for that. There's sound inside, so to say, or akasha, it's ether. And without this couldn't exist, actually. Right, it's part of gross manifestation. And on the psychological effect also, we know that different sounds have different influence us in different ways. Right? If someone says some nice words to you, you feel very good. If someone says harsh words to you, you probably feel bad. It influences you. And it revibrates in your mind. If someone says something to you, then it's not forgotten, it reverberates, these words. Oh, what he said, this and that. I still hear it, I can still, it rings. And of course, spiritual sound vibration is most powerful, most important. On very subtle ways it influences us, it changes us. And the better we hear it, the more effective it is. So to get rid, it said, Nashta Praesha Padreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sivaya Bhagavati Uttamashloki Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. If we want bhakti, as Prabhupada says, irrevocable fact. Irrevocable fact. Naishtika, actually the word is naishtiki. Naishtiki means like, it's fixed, it's strong. Nishta, nishta means steady. Prabhupada says, irrevocable fact. If bhakti should be an irrevocable fact, then there has to be a cleaning of the heart. Cleaning of the heart. All the abhadra, the bad things, should go away. And in this verse it said, so that hearing of the spiritual sound vibration, Shrinvatang Svakata Krishna. About Krishna Katha, our heart gets purified. Yeah, the heart gets purified. This is our main important activity. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought this. Prabhupada quotes here 11.532. Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yachanti Hisumedasha. How does it start? Krishna Vanam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Bankasta Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yachanti Hisumedasha. This verse speaks about an avatar, actually. It's an 11th canto discussion between the sages and Maharaj Nimi. And in this situation also there are the different, actually the different Yuga avatars described or discussed. And then when it comes to the Kali Yuga, this is the verse which is then explaining what is the activity of the Yuga avatar, what is he doing. So he's not black, it says Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam. Akrishna, it says he's not blackish. His Tvisha, his complexion is not blackish. Varna means a color, not blackish. And Prabhupada says that means he's golden. Because he's not black, he's gold. So it means even though he's Krishna, who is normally blackish, he is not blackish, but he's still Krishna. And he's in the association of his devotees. And then it said here, Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yachanti Sumedasha. Am I mixing something? Krishna Vanam Dvisha Krishna Sango Bangashta Brajashanam Yagyai Sankirtana. Or Kale Dosh Nidirajan Asti. No, it's alright, yeah. And he is always engaged in chanting together the holy name, and intelligent people are worshipping him. So congratulations, you're very intelligent. According to this verse, you're very intelligent because you worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. So yagya is very important. The life should be a life of yagya. Mat varta yaja yatanam. Kapila Dev says in the third canto that if someone is constantly engaged in glorifying me, hearing my glories, hearing about me, he will never be entangled in the material world. So devotees should be constantly engaged in hearing and chanting. Constantly. He says constantly. Mangchavyo vyabhicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitidam prama bhuya kalpate. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if someone is uninterruptedly engaged in devotional service, he transcends the three modes of material nature and is situated on the spiritual platform. Quite nice. But as I said here, people in Kali Yuga are so dull, so they don't even understand their good luck, what they would have in spiritual life. Prabhupada refers here to a verse from first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it says, Prayen alpa yusha sabhyav kalafas min yogechana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadrutaha. It's a very famous verse from the first canto where the bad qualities of people in Kali Yuga described. They're always quarrelsome, they are always disturbed, they are ill-guided, and they are very lazy. Prabhupada says they're very lazy. And they're not so intelligent. In Kali Yuga, they're not intelligent. Yeah. But can become intelligent, sumedasaha, if they worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. And we have a very personal understanding that should be understood. A personal understanding of the absolute truth, not an impersonal understanding. And Krishna is the supreme person. He's the most person, so to say. He's the full, perfect person. We are just fragmental persons. As it said in this verse, Bhagavad Gita, where I forgot. Mama vangsa chiva loke, chiva puta sanatana, manashashtani indrayani, prakritistani karshati. We are fragmental parts of Krishna. Mama angsa, Krishna says, these living entities are my angsas, my parts, and they are eternal. And they are always in trouble with their senses. And the sixth sense, shashtani indriyani, the sixth of the senses is the mind. Yeah, and we have a personal understanding, not an impersonal one. The impersonal is also resting on Krishna. Krishna says also in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Brahmanu hi pratishtaham amritasya vyavyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya kantikasya cha. I am the base of the impersonal Brahman. And then he describes it. It is very powerful. It's eternal. It's everlasting. It's full of pleasure and all that. It's perfect. It's wonderful. But it's based on Krishna. So the material energy rests on the Brahman rests on Krishna. Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the origin of the origins. He's the source of everything. And the impersonal is just his powerful energy. And some want to go into the impersonal, but the demigods explain in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd chapter of the 10th canto, when they pray to Krishna in the womb, and they say, Ye nera vindaksha vimukta maninas tvayasta bhavat avishuddha buddhayaha Aruya krechena parang patang tata. What's the last verse? Huh? No. Patantia do nadrita yushmat angrayaha. Those who don't worship the lotus feet of the Lord, they even and try to reach the supreme, but they are avishuddha buddhayaha. Their intelligence is not pure, and they are vimukta maninas. They are only liberated in the mind. And padantiado means they fall down again. They will fall down. So those who don't worship the lotus feet of the Lord, they will fall down again. But at the same time, everyone should worship, even if someone has some impersonalistic leanings. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarati divrena bhakti yogena yacheta purusham param. Everyone should worship, even if you have many desires or no desires or desire for liberation. Everyone should worship the lotus feet of the Lord. Actually, impersonalists cannot reach his impersonal destination without the mercy of the Lord. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in Bhagavad Gita in his commentaries that if a Mayavadi is a Mayavadi offensive towards Krishna, he will not achieve the impersonal. There needs to be some bhakti, some appreciation must be there to reach Sayuchya Mukti. Yeah. And then the soul falls down again. And it's actually interesting how the Bhagavatam explains how the soul enters again into the material world by divine arrangement, right? Prabhupada always quotes this verse, Karmana daiva netrena chanturte hopa pataye bhungsa striya pravishta udara pungsa reta kanashrayaha. The soul takes shelter in the semen of the man, which is then put into the womb of the woman, and this is all done, and then the body is created for the soul, but all this is done by karmana daiva netrina. At first it's by karma, which is administered by the devas, divine administration. Yeah. So this is all Krishna's powerful system for all of us to become humble. It's very humbling to be a spiritual soul and then be put into a material body, to get born, to be a small child. I see now my son, he's very limited. Very limited. It's very hard for them to grab something and to do something. They want to do something and then they cannot do it. It takes a long time for a human to be able to do things. Like other animals, they very quickly they come into the world and immediately can act quite freely to their degree, but then it stops. The development goes fast, but not very far. A human's development takes very long, but goes very, very, very far. Humans have huge capacity. Amazing what humans can do, actually. It's the only living entity, the only entity on earth, at least, which has this capacity to become quite free of their own limitations in a material sense. Not in a spiritual. Only Krishna can give liberation, but in a material sense, we can do so many things. We can be so creative. Krishna gave us amazing intelligence and consciousness. But problem with this is also huge capacity to misuse it. That we can do so many nonsensical things. And this age is proof for that. This is amazing how stupidly creative people can be. What they do is from a spiritual point of view, definitely, even many things are from a material point of view quite stupid, but even more from the spiritual. So this intelligence is given by Krishna that we can solve the puzzles and the riddles of human life, to answer the big questions. And Shastra is there that we can learn that, understand that, and apply that, and then become free, become happy. But people don't want that. They don't want to follow that, and they want to speculate into eternity. Eternally speculate. But at the same time, it's interesting how many amazing things humans can do with their mind, with their body, how they can use their life, how much power there is. Because Krishna says, I am the ability in man. He says, I am the ability in man. He empowers everyone. Also according to the karma. Of course, it's all earned through the karma. We did some people who have some certain material assets, they did some good karma, and so in this life they get many opportunities. But then it strikes back again. Even those who enjoy the most on the heavenly planets, they will fall down again. So a devotee understands all that. As Krishna says, Yahi sang sparsha cha boga dukhayo naya ivate. Adi, what does Adi count? I forgot. Anyway, Krishna says, an intelligent person does not take pleasure from the sources of misery, because they are enjoyed only through the senses and have a beginning and an end. Have a beginning and an end. This point should never be forgotten. The temporary nature of material world. Doesn't matter how beautiful, wonderful life could be, it will always end. It's even said you should stop when it's the most beautiful. Because then it's easier. Yeah. As if you could run away from the karma correction. But that's a very important point. Everything is temporary. It doesn't matter how great or wonderful the situation might be, we might achieve, it will end. It will all be taken away. By whom? By Krishna. Krishna is called Hari. Hari means the one who takes away. Kindly takes away. That we are not preoccupied with illusion. So when a devotee understands that, and that's why doesn't invest anymore in the temporary nature. Says, why should I do that or take that or use that? It will not lead to anything. This intelligence we have to develop. This is a very powerful point, very powerful intelligence in a situation when we might get tempted or distracted. What's the use? I won't have any. I should chant Hare Krishna. That is the most important thing. In the Kalisantarana Upanishad, it's even said how often you have to chant to achieve liberation. I forgot the number. It was 10 million or 10 billion or something was written there. When you say this and that often, Hare Krishna mantra, then you get liberation. You can count. We have counters, no? You can count already. How often did I say it? But this is Karma Kanda. It's a Karma Kanda instruction. For a devotee means now you can become perfect. Even one Hare Krishna mantra or millions of Hare Krishna mantras, because we don't want liberation or any egoistic goal. We want bhakti. And bhakti is independent of that. Bhakti depends on the purity of the heart of the practitioner. So we have to learn to chant in a pure way. Yeah. And so we come back to this point, the power of the holy name. Power of the holy name is just incredible. It's the greatest gift. Golokera Bremadan, Harinam Sankirtan. Harinam, the name of Hari, in the congregational style actually. It's a gift given from Goloka Vrindavan. It's an import. And it's very, very powerful. It's full of pleasure. Gives you pleasure. Greatest pleasure. We have to find this greatest pleasure in the holy name. Then a devotee can be really detached. Because he has a higher taste. No? He has a higher taste. Vishaya vinivartate nirahara sadinam rasa varcham rasopyasya parang drishtava nivartate. The pleasures, the attachments for pleasures are staying in the mind, even though you distance yourself from it. But if you experience a higher taste, real renunciation can happen. We want to be renounced from old habits, old attractions, old attachments, which were not working out. Sometimes people still dream of their ex-husband or wives or whatever, friends, girls, or even though it was this toxic relationship. You heard? Toxic relationship. Some people are so attached to each other even though they hate each other. And they cannot live with each other and not without each other. And you still, it was somehow good or whatever, right? They cannot stop that toxic thing, right? Sometimes for devotees also, joins and still some remembrance in the past life, like past life. It should be a past life. It's another life. It's something which is gone. Yeah. And And how to get rid of this old attachments, old thoughts, old cravings, old tendencies. It's very difficult actually. Some can be given up quite easily, but some not. Some stay for a long time. Hurt feelings, problems with family or whatever. So much old karma is carried around. Yeah, it needs a powerful spiritual life to dissolve all that. And one part of it is the chanting of the holy name, which should replace also the urge for experiencing pleasure. Because Ananda Mayopyasat, the living entity, as Krishna, is always striving for pleasure. We want to experience happiness, every situation. How can I be happy? Is this nice? Is this nice? Is this cool? Oh, I want to experience that. And this hope for the happiness should be replaced with the understanding, if I want to be happy, I should engage in Krishna's service. This is making me more happy. If I put my hand now in this bead bag and chant a couple of rounds, I'm more happy than doing anything else. Sometimes we have this conviction and use it and do it and see, wow, really true? Sometimes not. Because the holy name's pleasure, it's, especially in the beginning, it's quite subtle actually. It's very subtle. Material pleasures, they give immediate, powerful, they have an immediate, powerful impact. Isn't it? Immediate, wow, you're overwhelmed, sensually overwhelmed. Wow, this is so great. Oh. But it doesn't stay long. It's just shallow. It's just illusion actually. It's true. It's illusion. Yeah. So, and that's why to come to the stage of a convinced and powerful and steady spiritual experience with chanting the holy name, it needs a long, it needs a long-term plan. It takes years, actually. It takes years. But if we do that, then we become very, very, as I said, nishta. Nishta. It will be, we were convinced. It's a irrevocable fact. And this we see in the advanced devotees. They are like not shaken by anything. And the greatest example, one of the greatest examples, but for me, the greatest example is Haridas Thakur. Of course, he's far away from we cannot imitate him, but still, that shows how powerful the holy name is. He was not distracted at all. He was chanting, was so absorbed in his chanting that even this most beautiful lady was sitting next to him, offering herself in a humble way to spend the night with him. And he was not distracted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. No problem. He was a saint, he was a detached person. It would have been for anyone else, no problem, he can do it. But he had a high moral rules. He could not do that. Any rascal can do that. Of course, let's spend the night. What's the problem? Like nowadays, people spend nights with each other like it's, drinking tea or something. No problem. Is it a problem? Is it a problem? No. Of course it's a problem, but they don't know that. They are so fallen in their moral understanding. So fallen. Yeah. So Haridas Thakur, of course, had a high standard and was not distracted. Or Ambarish Maharaj, a huge demon, fire demon standing in front of him. He was not distracted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Isn't it? How would we react with this beautiful prostitute, fire demon, right? All these powerful things of material nature which create powerful feelings in us, like fear or lust or greed or anger. A devotee doesn't get angry either. Like, so many examples are there in Shastra of devotees who were attacked, like Nityananda was attacked, was not getting angry. So the devotees, powerful devotees, they are in full control of themselves. As is said in Nectar of Instruction, you control the Vegas. Which Vegas? The Vega of speech. You can control. This is actually one of the qualities of a devotee. Is tolerant, which is shown by his ability to not speak out. He can control himself, right? Normally we immediately say something when there are powerful emotions, especially if we are triggered or angered, and then we have to say something, no? Silence. Vacha vegam, manasa kroda vegam. The vega, the urge of the mind. Anyway, this is very powerful. He can control the mind. And the kroda vegam means the anger. He can control the anger. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't get lusty, doesn't get angry, doesn't get fearful. I find this quite amazing, especially if we experience these things and see, oh, I'm so influenced by it. So influenced by anger, frustration, fear, worries. My mind is reeling. Why? Because I'm not Krishna conscious. And that means I'm not taking shelter in Krishna. I should take shelter in Krishna, which means, Krishna, you are my Lord. I trust you completely. You protect me. I have nothing to worry. Everything will work out fine. Everything is fine. Everything will work out fine because you are here. Actually, we are not. If we are not Krishna conscious, or we are not trusting Krishna, and it's almost offensive. Like in normal dealings, in normal social dealings or in relationships, if you don't trust someone, actually it's quite offensive. Because it means you're not trustworthy. It means you will misuse my trust. I cannot give you now this 1,000 euros to keep them for a week until I come back, because you might spend it or take it away or run off with it. I cannot trust you. I cannot trust you for shelter or protection. So if we are in that sense, as devotees who should understand that Krishna is everywhere and Krishna is everything, and He is my Lord, but we're still afraid, that means we're not trusting Him, His power to protect us. It's quite normal. I don't say, oh, we are now all big offenders and terrible. It's kind of normal because we're not Krishna conscious, but these pure devotees, they are not afraid because they understand Krishna is always there and protecting me. It's called Poshanam. Poshanam means the protection of the Lord, which is one of the 10 topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you know the 10 topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Everyone heard about this? There are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, which shows that Bhagavatam is the Mahapurana, the greatest of the Puranas. All the other Puranas, I think they have 5. They have only 5, but Bhagavatam is 10. Everyone knows? Or heard about it, the 10 topics? First is creation. Second is the secondary creation. Sarga, Visarga. And then you have Poshanam. No. Atra Sarga, Visargascha. Poshanam, the protection of the Lord. And Sthanam, the planetary creations. Uttaya, the creative impetus. Why is the living entity working, the karma, and all these desires. This is described. Then have Manvantara, the turns of the Manvantaras, the turns of the ages. Ishanukata. And then Ishanukata, the science of the Lord, the Krishna Kata, Ishakanuta. How many do we have now? You're writing. 6 waren das jetzt? Okay, habe ich was vergessen. Und dann Nirodha means destruction of the universe. And then we have Mukti, the liberation. And Ashraya, the summum bonum, the absolute truth. Should be 10. The 10 topics of the Bhagavatam. Covers everything. I think I forgot one. Waren das 10 oder habe ich eins vergessen? Okay, na dann passt. Yeah, and one of them is Poshanam. This is a whole topic of these 10 topics of Bhagavatam. How Krishna protects. Do you remember one part or story of Bhagavatam where the protection of Krishna is shown? Someone remembers, huh? Yeah, Gajendra is one of the main examples when the elephant was protected by Vishnu, actually, when he was attacked by the crocodile. Yeah. Some other example? Prahlad Maharaj. Yes, Prahlad Maharaj. He was protected by Nrsimhadev. Yes. Ambarish was protected by Vishnu. Actually, he was protected by chakra. He was protected by the chakra. which immediately came. Such powerful devotees, the chakra of Vishnu is always circling around them. They are untouchable. Yes. Who else was protected? Some other example. So many are there. Draupadi was protected, yes. Pandavas, Arjuna, in Battle of Kurukshetra. So often Krishna protected him. Huh? Parikshit was protected. Even though he was killed in the end, but he was Krishna conscious, he didn't mind. Yeah, so many examples. Prabhupada was always protected. It's not from Bhagavatam, but still. Or in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many examples. And from life, so do you remember a situation where you were protected by the Lord? Or something happened, or you saw how He made something happen? So often, you say, this was Krishna. Krishna arranged it. Krishna solved it. And what was happening? Then you were happy. You say, wow, you strengthen your faith. Oh, now I want to be more surrendered. Thank you, Krishna. And sometimes we feel embarrassed. Oh, I'm not worthy of you. Why are you helping me actually? I didn't want it also. I was not asking for it. I needed it, of course. I wanted it to happen, but we don't want to ask Krishna for it. But still, He does it. He says in Bhagavad Gita, where He says that I will carry what you have and I give you what you need. Right? What is the verse? Ananyas chintayantumang yechana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshema vahamyam. So Krishna protects. And we should see it. And I don't know, maybe now as a Grihasta I see it more than before because now I have more needs. So I see how Krishna gives everything. As a brahmachari probably was not seeing that so much. On book distribution or so when Krishna helped or arranged but now as a Grihasta I see it somehow or other I think more because I need so many things and have not so many worries but more as a brahmachari and I see how Krishna gives this and that, arranges magical things, and helps. And you say, wow, Krishna, thank you so much. I hope I can pay it back and show my gratitude. Krishna protects us from many, many problems. And then we should be more eager to serve Him, glorify Him. Yeah, that's great. And how do we show gratitude? In chanting better and taking our spiritual life more serious, to be more surrendered, to read more, to study more, to learn more, to preach more, to help more, to be more selfless, to be more conscious of what Prabhupada wants when he says that we should preach. Use our life for preaching. Don't get distracted and think, oh, I have to do something else or another spiritual path or another whatever. There are so many distractions can be there, even in the name of Krishna consciousness. No, Prabhupada wanted us to be simply Krishna conscious, nothing complicated. There's so many complicated things nowadays. No, other traditions, other Vaishnava Sampradayas who have maybe they seem to be very attractive and have a couple of more answers for this and that, but Prabhupada didn't want it. Prabhupada said, just be simply Krishna conscious. These books are very powerful, as we know, all inside what you need, and it works. And there are so many people who might make you doubtful. Do you really develop bhakti? Yes, I can see. No, I mean Vraja bhakti, the real bhakti, like the gopis. Oh, I don't know. So maybe you should do something else. We know how it goes. It's not true. It's not true at all. Why? What Prabhupada gave is perfect. And one practical point, what I realized recently, is I don't know how to say it, but especially in my work, if I would be too specific in my spiritual life, in any way, if I don't know, if I would be more like everyone starts as the same regular devotee, right? Go to the Bhakti program, we learn the basic, read Prabhupada's books, we have all the same understanding. And some devotees, they go down in specific directions, which is very good, can be done. And they become very good then in very whatever, specific topics in Pujari service or become astrologers or whatever, right? But for my work, it's very important to be not too... I'm specific, definitely. It's a niche. Krishna consciousness in an outside public discussion, it's a niche, definitely. But if I would be too specific, I wouldn't reach so many people because it would be too far away. But because of Prabhupada's style of presentation and preaching, it's possible to reach the maximum people, actually, in the same way, and staying pure. Right? Sometimes devotees think I have to do preaching to reach more people, and it's true. If you can do that, you might reach more people. But maybe in the end, the same amount of people will come to Krishna when you have spoken directly, because most people, when you make this so-called bridge preaching, many just come because of the bridge and don't come to the other side. Because if you speak about, let's say, astrology, right? And it might happen that some, because of you say, oh, I do astrology, and many people come because everyone wants to hear about their life story and they have problems and it might help them. And some might cross, and you say, yeah, there's something more. There's also Krishna consciousness, and some might cross the bridge. But many, they say, no, I didn't want to come because of Krishna consciousness. I came because of astrology. They don't cross the bridge. Doesn't mean that some devotees who can use their abilities in a Krishna conscious way shouldn't do it, right? Because if some devotees are astrologers or are yoga teachers or are scientists or philosophers, whatever, and they can connect it with Krishna. But someone who is a pure preacher of Krishna consciousness should not necessarily say, oh, I need a bridge. Actually not, because this is his profession. And my point is that maybe if you have spoken directly, the same probably low amount of people will have come to Krishna consciousness as if you would use a bridge and most of them stop at the bridge and only a couple of them will enter. So keep it pure and simple. For you, for me, it's very good, and I'm satisfied with those who come. Right? Understand my point? I hope it was kind of clear. And my point now is this, that because of reading and learning what we learn, the message is actually very pure and simple and very practical. And people can understand it. And now I can see more and more the genius of Prabhupada. When Prabhupada would have been somehow different or too specific or fixed somehow, and maybe, of course he's fixed in a tradition, but too traditional, maybe people wouldn't have understood. It would have been too exotic. It was, of course, exotic, and Prabhupada could not be less exotic because, of course, the substance should be there. But at the same time, Prabhupada was empowered by Krishna to speak in a language that people could understand it. The examples he used and the way he spoke, and it's really, it works. And if we repeat that, of course, in our words, people can understand. Really? That's Krishna consciousness. Okay, understand that, interesting. And people are very interested. I can see that they're very, very interested. Sometimes we think we have to hide something or this and that. We don't have to. It's nothing, we don't have to hide anything. You can say everything how it is, and you will find people who say, oh, that's very interesting, amazing. Never heard about that. It makes sense. So many people write to me and say, it makes perfect sense. Yes, it makes sense. Cool, I like it. You think, oh, that's difficult. How can I explain to them about the soul or incarnation or Krishna, God being a cowherd boy playing on a flute, blue boy? But people say, no, it makes perfect sense. Cool, I like it. Good. I haven't heard anything better. I know they write to me, I was Buddhist before, but this makes sense. This is very good. I was Christian before, sometimes I was Mayavadi before. It's crazy what they teach, that there's no soul and no person. I actually feel now completely depressed. One person recently wrote to me, she was Mayavadi, and she said she had psychological problems because of it. Because of all this, you're not a person, you don't exist, you don't exist. She got almost crazy. And she was very happy when she found what we have to say about personality, right? No, you are a person. It's good. Oh, I can exist. I'm allowed to exist. It's nice. Yeah. So Yeah, it's very interesting that people are open, ready. We don't have to hide anything, and it's cool. Actually, Krishna consciousness makes lots of sense, but we have to understand it well and explain it nicely. And then, yeah. Okay, so Hare Krishna. Any questions? Anything you want to add? Yes. You get a microphone. You're the soon you're the MC. Then you can.
I find very interesting this realization about the bridge and coming to the bridge and then maybe then coming further. Thank you for that. But I somehow see that we all, as devotees, networking. So it means like maybe person first see someone like dressed strange on the street, the second time this one see Harinam, and it's kind of like this is funny, you know. And the third time he tried to avoid the Sankirtan devotee, but somehow he get a book, and fourth time he see in the midst of everything like a podcast, and eventually maybe come to the temple. But all these devotees on the way, they were important. So in the same time, I think we need the bridge preaching, but then we need the devotees who can bring them from the bridge to the other side.
I have to really say, don't understand me wrong, I am not against bridge preaching, not at all. I'm just saying that everyone has to act according to his capacity. And if someone like me would start now, I don't know, do something else, that wouldn't be good for me and good for my preaching. But if someone is not a bridge, maybe the word is too misused anyway. Like if a devotee is let's say is a lawyer, right? He reached many people. He might even use that because people have, like if someone comes with a problem to him and he solves his problem and helps him, he's a good lawyer, and at the same time there's personal relationship and he gives some advice about life and Krishna. He should not become a brahmachari, of course. But if a brahmachari thinks, no, I want to be a lawyer, then maybe it's not good. Just mean that everyone should use his capacity. And what we call bridge preaching, if someone who by profession is a psychologist, yoga teacher, whatever, then it's good. He can connect it, yeah. And what you say about networking is really, really important. No one of us, because we should, as we say, make devotees. We should spread the holy name. But we cannot do it alone. No, we cannot do it alone. We depend on each other to bring a person towards Krishna consciousness. When I joined, there was one devotee, very, very important, who brought me in, and he was so charismatic and nice and funny and happy, but he was just bringing me in. He was not able to bring me further. Now he's anyway gone and his own problems, but at that time he was most important. And then others brought me further. And same way, I bring people in, like yesterday someone wrote me a huge letter, and I don't have time for all that, so I forward it to Munindra, say, do you have time? Please answer him, he wants to come. And I'm happy that I can, it's not that I have to answer everything, I have to bring them, show them how to dress in the dhoti and put in tilak, or how to chant on a morning program. We have to network. Yeah, and everyone has his role in that to play. Yeah, a small role to bring devotees closer to Krishna. Yeah, I'm very happy that. What shall we do with people who say, I want to come to a temple, and there is no temple? So we can say, oh, here's a temple here. Here's this person that I direct the people to wherever I think it's good for them.
Yeah, so the cook is as important preacher as the...
Yeah, what shall we do without food? Yeah, prasadam. And I am not a cook. So, yeah. Krishna consciousness is more than a video. I actually say it always in the video. It's not just it's more than this video here. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, Ramananda.
In this connection, could you maybe define preaching? Can you, in this connection, maybe define preaching? Because often I hear, especially from young devotees, oh, I want to do preaching. And sometimes it's, the young devotees, maybe, in my opinion, not the best to do, like direct preaching, telling the people you should.
That's the reason why they should just distribute a book.
Yes, exactly.
and don't do much more. It's true. It's true. Everyone has everyone has to understand where his level is. No? If you are a teacher for the first grade, you cannot go to the university. No? So you only speak to the small children.
But we stressing sometimes. We all have to do preaching, and we meaning like book distribution.
Yeah.
But actually, as you said, book distribution is let Prabhupada preach. But sometimes we think I have to convince
I think
somebody.
it needs a preaching manager somehow or other, a devotee who has the overview about all the what we call preaching activities and knows who can do what, and manage also who can do it in the best way to be effective. And he can say, okay, you are not a book distributor, you should be a teacher. You learn the Shastra and teach it. You're good for that. You are a book distributor, just distribute books. Don't speak too much. It's not necessary. Give out the books. You are a cook. You will cook, and then people will come and will be amazed by what they eat. You are a puchari. You can do the yagyas and all that. If devotees don't know themselves how they can be best used in a Sankirtan mission, it needs someone who tells them and directs it. Or? But everyone should really know his strength and weaknesses. That's important. No one, maybe there's a devotee who can do everything perfect, but it's kind of rare. So you should understand what is my strength and what is my weakness. This is what I should do, and this is what I shouldn't do at all, actually. And maybe there's a devotee who just cannot preach to people. He will mess it up directly. He might mess it up. He might say things wrong. He might be too aggressive. He might be too fanatical. He might be too liberal. It's okay. Just, eat a laddu once a year and it's perfect. I don't know. It might be too liberal. Who knows? He should preach in another way. He should make laddus. I don't know. Everyone should know his strengths and weaknesses and should do that in the Sankirtan mission. Many things, everything is needed. Okay, anything else? No.
For me, preaching is to share the picture of Lord Nrsimhadev on the Facebook.
Yes.
Or send Lord Jagannath in a heart for my friend's birthday.
Yes. If this is what you can do, this is where you're happy, this is what is effective. If you can do more, then you can do more. But you have to know, no, I cannot do more, I can do less, whatever. We have to be just realistic, right? Then it's good. Okay. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.